I am 60 years old today. I'll be 61 tomorrow, but I'm still only 60 years old today. Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Today, we're going to talk about what has happened to me over the last 2 years, because today is my 2-year carnivore anniversary. Most of you have heard my whole story before. Of course, just as I start talking, some idiot on a loud motorcycle goes by. Most of you have heard my whole story before, but I always like to go over it again on these milestone videos. As you know, I was discharged from the Army in 1983 because I had gout. And gout was the root cause of all my problems. Now, the Army doctor and the civilian doctor that I found right after I got out explained to me that eating too much red meat is what was probably causing my gout. So I went through life avoiding red meat, and if I was going to have meat, it would be chicken or fish in just a 2 or 3 ounce portion a couple of times a week. I tried to follow their diet, and all I did was slowly get sicker. Every time I tried to exercise, because you know, at that time, we knew as a fact all you had to do to lose a little weight was to eat a little less and exercise a little more. But every time I tried to exercise a little more, I'd have a gout flare up that would set me back, and it just sort of snowballed over the next 30 plus years. Let me adjust this camera just a little bit. There we go. Then I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. My A1C was 10.3. And I don't know if she's the nutritionist or if she's a dietitian or who she was, but one of the doctor's office's girls sat me down and gave me what she called a carb-controlled diet. And I was supposed to eat between 60 and 75 grams of carbs at each meal, and then 3 15 to 20 carb snacks in between, leaving me eating a lot of carbs throughout the day and eating 6 times a day. And I've talked about many times on this channel how that's bad. Probably the worst advice I was ever given, because combining the gout diet with the diabetes diet, all that did was lead me to a triple bypass surgery. It's been about 6.5 years ago now that I had that triple bypass surgery. And of course I felt better because my heart was getting better blood flow and oxygen. So I did feel better, but I still had gout. And over the course of the years, I developed spinal stenosis, horrible arthritis, had chronic kidney disease, fatty liver, trying to remember what else. But anyway, I had a whole rack of problems, and it all came to a head. Well, 3 years ago, I was taking care of Mom down in New Orleans, and the stress behind that was unbelievable. I didn't realize how stressful it was at the time, but now that I look back on it, it was very stressful. And I had really ballooned up there. Then I'm sitting in my camper trailer about 30 minutes from one of the most beautiful beaches in North Carolina. And I was there for 6 months and never saw the beach. I didn't have the energy to move that far. So I'm watching YouTube videos, and I've always been a travel, tourism, van life, camping, photography kind of a YouTube consumer. So how Dante Ferrigno's video showed up on my feed, I don't know. I truly believe that God reached into my computer and said, this is the video you need to see. And it was a video by a guy named Dante Ferrigno. And it was, I believe, 125 days on the Lion Diet. Well, I didn't know what the Lion Diet was. So I clicked on the video and very quickly realized that it was just a more extreme version of a ketogenic diet, of which I had heard about many times and knew that it worked, but also knew that I can't do that because I have gout. And lots of meat and eggs and things like that are bad for people with gout. But because I had watched his video, later on that day, I ran into, it showed me another video, and it was this country doctor from Tennessee that talked a little funny, but made quite a bit of sense. Dr. Ken Berry. And I saw, you know, I watched a couple of his videos and I liked them, so I subscribed. And then I got a notification that he was going live in 30 minutes. And I thought, well, I'll go see if I can ask him a question. And of course I got there about 15 minutes early. And there's already a ton of people in the chat. So I thought, well, gosh, I'm never going to get a question answered. But then, because I was there, I went ahead and typed in my question. I have gout and cannot eat a lot of meat. Is there a version of this diet I can do? If I had known it was going to be this successful, I would have written the girl's name down. I remember it was a girl's name. And at that time, he only had 2 moderators that were girls. So it was either Mitzi or Paola. I wish I could remember which, because I really owe them a steak dinner. But they sent me back a text, or a message, that said, Bob, meat does not cause gout. And she sent me off to watch a Dr. Berry gout video. Well, I watched one of his gout videos and thought to myself, well, this guy's crazy. Of course it's meat that causes gout. I've known that as fact for 40 plus years. Then I watched more of his videos. And it all made sense, but I still wasn't sure. But then, the day before I was due to travel back to Omaha by way of my sister's house, I thought, you know what? The worst that can happen is this kills me. And at this point in my life, maybe that won't be such a bad thing. So I got home on May the 8th. I stopped in Ohio to visit my sister and my mom. And then I got home on May the 8th in the afternoon. I went shopping and bought all carnivore foods. And on May the 9th, I started the Carnivore Diet 2 years ago today. Now, I know jumping straight in like that is not recommended, and even though I did okay with it, I still don't recommend that. I recommend that you take at least 4 to 6 weeks to transition slowly to give your guts time to adjust. But I didn't do that. And of course I thought I'd made a horrible mistake, because the first day went okay. The second day started, shall we say, a run of bathroom issues that were sudden and explosive. And we'll just leave it at that. And that continued for quite a few weeks. But everything finally settled down. And I started to notice some changes. My hands didn't hurt as much. My back didn't hurt as much. When I first started this diet, I had sent a message, because I joined Dr. Barry's private group. I had sent him a message that said, you know, I'm just looking for a little pain relief. Will my back eventually get better? And he said, maybe, just give it some time. Because when I started this, I had decided that since I could only stand for a couple of minutes, if I could get to maybe 3 or 3.5 minutes of standing before I had to sit down again, that would let me start to get out and do some things that I missed doing. But I blew past that. In the first 30 days, I noticed my arthritis wasn't as bad. I could stand for 10 or 15 minutes at a time before my back started to hurt. When I started, I was taking 13 prescriptions in the morning and 9 at night, plus pain pills throughout the day just to get through the day. And now here I am, 2 years later. I'm out here walking every day. I just cut all of my own grass. You guys saw me trim my bushes the other day. And tomorrow I got a load of mulch coming. I'm going to mulch in my bushes on the side that you saw me trim. My A1C is stabilized at 4.0 or 4.8. My fatty liver is gone. My chronic kidney disease is gone. My arthritis is about 99% better. I still feel, you know, I can feel my joints are a hair stiff, but they don't hurt like they used to. It doesn't really hurt, it's just a little bit of a stiffness. My chronic kidney disease is gone. I don't know if I said that yet or not. My spinal stenosis is also about 99% better. It certainly doesn't hurt like it did. If I turn the wrong way or push too hard, I notice that my back starts to get a little bit sore, but it's nothing like it used to be. One of the biggest things is that I now no longer take any prescription medications. None at all. And I have not had a single gout attack in 2 years after having 5 or 6 major gout attacks every year and a bunch of little ones in between. So it's not red meat that causes gout. It's an inflammatory disorder. And that's basically my story. What's happened to me in 2 years. Oh, and as a side effect, I'm down about 155 pounds. Most of that I lost in the first year, but as I said in an earlier video just a few days ago, I had bought some pants last year to wear to the miniature golf course, and they fit perfectly. And this last year I've been kind of mad at myself because I haven't really lost any weight on the scale, which just goes to show that the scale is not your friend. I knew I was putting on muscle, But when I got my pants out this last weekend to go to work, they just fell right off of me. They were way too big. So while I've put on a lot of muscle, I've also lost a lot more fat this year. I still feel like I could lose a few pounds here and there, but for the most part, I'm very happy with where I'm at. That's what I've got for you today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this 2-year update video. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you in the next one.